Nation. What is up, No Horsing family? Welcome back to another episode of the No Horsing Around podcast. As always, I am one of two dudes talking Colts. I am one of your hosts, Stephen Burton. And as always, we are powered by WagerWire, you guys. WagerWire is a revolutionary, one-of-a-kind sports betting app. Lets you get in and out of your futures, in and out of your parlays. You can bet on things all the way up to the minute. Changes sports betting forever. Go follow them at WagerWire on Twitter. Check out their Twitter spaces, by fans, for fans. And then jump over to their website when you got a second. Go to wagerwire.com, and you can go ahead and punch your email address in. And when the app drops, which is very, very soon, you'll be one of the first people to get it. So let's have a little fun. I wanted to have a little fun today on this episode. As you can see in the title, rumor has it, right? I tweeted out not long ago that in the absence of actual information, rumors run wild. That's kind of where we're at, right? That's kind of where we're at with the Colts. Nothing has come out of West 56th. Nothing coming from Ballard. Nothing coming from Irsay. Nothing at all. And so it's all speculation. And there's just a ton of rumors. And so I wanted to kind of address a couple of them that seem to be pretty high up. So let's kind of run through some of these, right? Number one, Jeff Saturday is the leading candidate. Massive rumor. Like, that's how I feel about it, right? At this point, we've heard enough of the credible people who are tuned in to the Colts, right? A Zach Kiefer, a Bob Kravitz, a Mike Chappell, a Stephen Holder, Joel Erickson. Then you can even go up the chain and Ian Rappaport, who is very tuned in with the Colts because of Pat McAfee, right? And even Tom Pelissaro now. Anyone outside of ESPN who has basically come out and said, like, no, he's not. As of today, you have Ian Rappaport reporting that it's leaning away from him. It's not him. You have Zach Kiefer on JMV today saying he didn't have enough to actually report this because JMV said he had heard the rumor too, is that they informed Saturday 2 weeks ago that he wasn't going to get the job. And Zach Kiefer said he couldn't source that, like he couldn't actually put that out, but he had heard the same kind of rumor, and he had kind of heard that they're not going with him. So when you see these sports betting sites, odds betting or odds checker or whatever it is, putting him down as one of the favorites, it's not. I mean, it's not at this point. So rumor has it that he's the leading candidate. That's a no, right? Next one that we see a lot of lately, same kind of thing. Wink Martindale is the leading candidate. So again, I'm going to go back to Zach Kiefer, right? Friend of the show. He's been on the show before. And he said that, so he's heard a lot. And he's heard that, one, we know that Raheem Morris had a great interview. Two, we know that Brian Callahan had a really good interview. We know Shane Steichen had a pretty decent interview. And we know Aaron Glenn had a really, really good interview on Friday, right? So, or on Thursday, sorry. So we know those things. And he's like, I have not heard anything about Wink having a good interview. Now, he's a straight shooter. He's like a defensive Bruce Arians. So odds are he probably did have a good interview. But he goes, the only report, and this is what we can justify too, the only thing I've seen, and that probably y'all have seen, is a New York Giants beat reporter saying he's the favorite for the job. That, to me, really feels like driving up the price to be a D coordinator to stay in New York. I don't think he's a favorite. I think he's an intriguing interview. I don't think he's the favorite by any stretch, okay? Next one up, another kind of one, right? Shane Steichen is the guy. It's the only reason they're waiting, right? I don't know if I buy that, okay? Because I feel like we're sitting here on Monday night and nothing came out today, which was a little surprising. And if it was Steichen, you kind of feel like they would start to inform people that, hey, you're no longer a candidate for the job. And eventually there'd be no candidates except for Shane Steichen. Now, some of that is people are saying they're not really doing that because they're gun shy a little bit because of what happened with Josh McDaniels, 6 years ago. And that's why, but I feel like you would start to see more, right? Like you would start to see things leaking out. You think they obviously they're not going to announce it. George Brimmer, friend of the show, told Zach on a previous episode too, and on an episode of his the Blue Horseshoe podcast that it's not a rule that you don't announce these things during the Super Bowl week, but it is really frowned upon, very much frowned upon that you would announce, "Hey, we've cut a terms." Now you would hear like it leaked. An example given to me was Kyle Shanahan from the Falcons to the Niners. That was leaked the week of the Super Bowl. So I don't buy that he's the leading guy. I kind of almost don't think he's one of the finalists, if I'm being frank and being honest, because if he was, wouldn't you know? I mean, like you had him in the building, you had the chance to go ahead and finalize. He was the last interview, right? So I mean, I don't know if I buy that one. Another one, and this is the one that got a little bit debunked today, a little, but it was a big one, right? Is that the Colts are going into these interviews and they are not necessarily demanding, but they would very, very much like Gus Bradley to remain the D coordinator. And I've heard it on a couple of different podcasts, right? I won't name them, but you guys can go find them because I'm not gonna throw them under the bus if this isn't true. But is that they're being told like, hey, you're gonna keep Gus Bradley, and then to add, fuel to the fire, obviously, Albert Breer comes out Monday Morning Quarterback today and says they blocked interviews, right? Like they did block interviews. They blocked his ability to interview. They want to keep him. And then you have another one. Zach Kiefer comes out to this afternoon on JMV and says he knows of at least 4 finalists that want to keep Gus Bradley on as the D coordinator, right? And then you have our friend Landon over at the Blue Stable kind of reiterating too. It's not unusual during a head coaching search to block those interviews because it's one less thing you have to worry about, right? You don't have to worry about filling your D coordinator at the same time as you're trying to fill your offensive and your head coach and all these different things, right? So it's not an unusual thing, but that's a massive rumor because that's been out there that looks meddling almost. It's framed from what we've read, it's framed that they will get the option to decide, but the rumor obviously was that they're not going to get that option to decide. So, I mean, it's an interesting rumor. It's yet another one because, like I said in the beginning, in the absence of actual any information, rumors run rampant. Another one is obviously the big rumor is the third round of interviews, an unprecedented third round of interviews. We've still not heard anything on it. From what I've gathered from listening to other people, I don't think the Colts have decided on it. I think they interviewed Shane Steichen on Saturday. I think they came up for air on Sunday, and I think today, from all accounts and everything that we've seen, today was the day they were all meeting in Indy, and they were deciding: do we want a third round? Who do we like, or do we just want to pull the trigger and go from there? So I think they were deciding some of that. I think they're still probably deciding that right now on what they want to do. So I don't know if a third round is actually going to still happen. And if it does, I think the consensus is it's probably going to be like a short Zoom call because they're not going to fly everyone back out. Let's say they have 3 finalists. They're not going to fly everybody back out, have them re-interview, right? Then go home, then decide, and then fly the winner back out. Fly the winner like it's a game show, right? Fly the new head coach back out for an opening press conference. It's a little ridiculous, right? So I mean, there's so many rumors, right? Like my DMs get hit up, my Twitter page, y'all's comments, like everyone's always hitting up. I mean, we're not insiders by any stretch of the imagination, but the rumors are crazy, right? It's going to be an interesting thing because I don't know. And then another rumor obviously is with Steichen is if they don't hire anybody this week, it's got to be him. Well, I don't know. Maybe they want it. Maybe they do want to interview some people. If we get past tomorrow, Tuesday, February 7th, right, with no information, that kind of tends to be the drop dead date where you're not going to hear much of anything until the following week after the Super Bowl. So I don't know, you guys. Rumor has it the Colts are going to eventually hire a head coach, and we're going to be able to actually talk about that guy. So, like, share, subscribe, comment. Let me hear what you guys think. You got any new rumors? You heard anything? You got anything you want us to talk about? I mean, we're just waiting to drop a video for you guys on who the actual head coach is. But like I said, rumor has it that they're going to actually hire somebody, and it could be one of 8 people, right? It could be anyone from Brian Callahan to Aaron Glenn to Wink Martindale. So I just want to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think. And as always, I love you. I know Zach loves you. I'm out.